visit, only to find out that homeboy was not welcome at Ma Duke's because he stole money from her, or, quote, his, unquote, shorty was already playing house with his cousin. Some of them straight out lied about having a place to go once bailed, and others truly had no clue that getting arrested had also rendered them homeless. Can never be too sure with these heads that call from inside. You have to put the question to them. If Ma Dukes or Shorty got your back like that, why didn't she call the bail bond company when you got knocked? Booker Malcolm, the CEO called. Jasmine gave the papers one last scan, stuffed them into her bag, and made a mental list of questions. Of course, she had to get a sense of how close, or not, Booker was with his sister Crystal, and if he had peoples in other places, especially outside of New York City. Jasmine guessed that with a maiden name like Guinard, his mother's people were Haitian. However unlikely it might be for Booker to skip the country, she had to determine if he had relatives on the troubled island. The preliminary screening form indicated that Booker was also Hispanic, so Jasmine made a note to learn what other tropical climates he might run to if he decided to jump bail. And she definitely had to know the story behind the 2 vandalism convictions to be sure they were not evidence of violent tendencies. Every other item on the 5-page questionnaire, she would skip. Jasmine had only created it to guide her staff, since they usually conducted these interviews. For all her clinical prowess, Lorraine could not spot a hustler if he gave her a lap dance, while Zachary saw perp around every freaking corner, from the guy delivering his mail to the chick asking him what kind of sauce he wanted with his chicken nuggets. But unlike them, Jasmine had sharp instincts cultivated on the streets and refined from 5 years in the business. With just a few key questions, she would know whether this Malcolm Booker had any business being put back on the street. Jasmine felt eyes on her. She looked up to catch the corrections officer squinting at her. "Do I know you?" he asked. No, but he probably did. As rarely as she visited Rikers, Jasmine had a reputation among law enforcement personnel that she wore both like a scarlet letter and a badge of honor. When the resentment of the assistant district attorneys, judges, cops, corrections officers, and even other bail bond agents did not get in Jasmine's way, she shook it off like water off a duck's back. But sometimes, these he-men wanted to trip her up and watch her fall on her face, simply for being a woman gaining yards on their field. "You don't know me," Jasmine said. "Are you sure?" asked the CO. "You seem familiar." Perhaps he had worked at Rikers long enough to recognize her as the twin sister of that suicide on Quad 4 6 years ago. When Jason hanged himself, it had shocked even the most hardened of the corrections officers. Or maybe he was just flirting with her, which would be the most pathetic explanation of all. These law enforcement types worked her nerves. If they weren't trying to fuck her one way, they were trying to fuck her another. Jasmine's past had become an urban legend among them, and those who had heard but were unable to confirm the rumors sometimes pressed up, trying to acquire, quote, intelligence, unquote, firsthand. "No, I'm not." "Okay." "You couldn't possibly," she said with a much softer tone. "I don't come here much." Not smart to antagonize a CEO just because she managed to steer clear of this place. Diana, Lorraine, and Zachary still had to come to Rikers on a regular basis, and these guards had no problem lengthening the 2-hour wait just to fuck with them because they worked for Reyes Bonds. "Don't come around here much, huh?" the CEO scoffed. "Wish I could say that." He led Jasmine to a concrete cubicle with 2 plain wooden chairs and a matching table. "I'll be back with the inmate." She took a seat and waited. Jasmine had started the bail bond agency with the money Jason had left her, and doing so had pitted her against the Bronx criminal justice system from the jump. This was still Giuliani's New York, where rehabilitation as a crime prevention strategy got called out and shut down as a failed experiment of the liberal imagination. A foolish demonstration of the irrational belief in the innate goodness of human nature. A fucking joke. Despite New York being held up as a bastion of liberalism to the